Studio Saloon is an independent animation studio based out of Kilkenny, Ireland, and has produced 4 feature-length films: The Secret of Kells, The Song of the Sea, The Breadwinner, and Wolfwalkers. For this video essay, I will be focusing on what Tom Moore describes as the Irish folklore trilogy: The Secret of Kells, Song of the Sea, and Wolfwalkers. Tom Moore has stated that his intentions with the Irish folklore trilogy is to tell an animated story that was explicitly Irish, blending pagan and Catholic themes into stories that take place during time periods that were important in Irish history.
You little fool! The Northmen are upon us, and here you are, drawing... We have one day before the Vikings attack Kells!
The gate won't hold.
We must run from here. The gate will hold. You will lead the new revolution.
The Secret of Kells takes place during the Viking raids of Irish Catholic monasteries in the 7th to 9th centuries. The Book of Kells, which The Secret of Kells creates a fictionalized history, was a real document. The Book of Kells is a medieval illuminated manuscript of the 4 Gospels produced by a monk named Columcille, also known as Saint Columba, the founder of the monks of Iona. The animation style of The Secret of Kells is based on Celtic and medieval art, and you can clearly see how the animation style draws from the real life. Book of Kells, which has a flattened perspective. The Secret of Kells is drawn to look like a medieval illuminated manuscript that has come to life, even taking its color palette straight from the illustrations in the Book of Kells, with Brendan, the main character, as the narrator and author of both the book and the movie. The Secret of Kells, like all of the films in the Irish folklore trilogy, tell a story of the interplay between the new and old, the clash between the paganism of the past and the contemporary world. Brendan, the titular character, is a young monk at a monastery in medieval Ireland. While tasked to find berries to make ink for the Book of Kells, he comes into contact with Aisling, a shape-changing fairy in the woods. The 2 main antagonists of the story are the Vikings and the pagan demon Crom Cruach. In the end, Vikings destroy the abbey, and Brendan is able to defeat Crom Cruach and take his eye, allowing him to finish the manuscript, saving the manuscript from destruction during the Viking raid. This story ends with the old pagan gods not only being defeated, but also integrated into the new Catholic belief system. Wolfwalkers is the 3rd film of the Irish folklore trilogy, but the 2nd film in the timeline of the films. Wolfwalkers is the story of Robin Goodfellow, a wolf hunter in 1650s Ireland. Like Brendan in The Secret of Kells, while roaming in the wilderness, Robin runs into a mysterious girl named Maeve. Maeve has a secret, of course, as she's actually a wolfwalker, a mythological creature who turns into a wolf when their human bodies are sleeping. The main antagonist of Wolfwalkers is the Lord Protector, who is tasked with killing the wolves in Ireland. The Lord Protector is essentially a stand-in for Oliver Cromwell, who, in real life, led an attack against Ireland in 1649 to squash any form of rebellion against the English Commonwealth.
We knew we didn't want it to be literally Oliver Cromwell because that's loaded with all the baggage of representing a historical figure, and he's like a hero in England. So
Tom Moore also says that the wolves are also a stand-in for the Irish people themselves. During the English invasions of the 1650s, the English wiped out many of the native wolves. In the same interview, Moore says, quote, "Equating Irish people with wolves was a great tool in the colonial days because Ireland was called Wolfland. There was a connection between Irish people and wolves. The name in Irish for wolf is Marktira, which means son of the land. The fact that we haven't had wolves in Ireland since the late 1700s and the fact that Irish people have all but forgotten this connection was in itself a sort of interesting sad theme." And for the animation, Wolfwalkers feels almost like a continuation of The Secret of Kells. It maintains a similar color scheme throughout and has a flat perspective. Unlike The Secret of Kells, Wolfwalkers has a more fluid feeling to it. The lines of the characters are not quite as defined, and there is more of a watercolor feeling to the animation in Wolfwalkers than there is to The Secret of Kells. Wolfwalkers was also the first cartoon saloon movie to use digital brushes to create each scene, whereas The Secret of Kells was animated entirely on paper. Song of the Sea is a bit different from the other 2 films of the trilogy. Whereas Wolfwalkers and The Secret of Kells deal with themes like alienation from nature, old versus new, pagan versus Catholics, and so on, Song of the Sea is fundamentally a story about loss. Like all of the Irish folklore trilogy, Song of the Sea has a colorful cast of oddball mythological creatures, but the crux of the plot revolves around a modern Irish family of lighthouse keepers. All seems well until we learn that Ben, the eldest son, lost his mother when his now mute baby sister was born. As it turns out, his mother and also his sister are actually Selkies, human seal shapeshifters who are always called to return home to the ocean. The goal of the antagonist is to steal human and fairies' emotions, in a vain attempt to make the world a better place, a place without sadness. The entire film deals with this repression of emotions and the concept of letting go and moving on from grief. The animation is also distinct from the other two films. There is not the watercolor-esque shading seen in Wolfwalkers, and the characters are much more rounded designs than what is seen in Wolfwalkers and The Secret of Kells, and the colors are shades of blue and other cool tones as compared to the other film's earth tones. The film even feels less flat than the other two movies, and the characters have more straightforward shading and design. My personal interpretation is that the characters' designs become more sleek as the narrative progresses further into the modern world. All the movies in the Irish folklore trilogy deal with the conflict between past and future, albeit in distinctly different ways. The Secret of Kells speaks to the transformative power of combining the past, present, and future, of integrating the past into the narratives of the future. In Secret of Kells, Brendan takes the eye of Crom Croch to create the beautiful Book of Kells, using a pagan artifact to create the most beautiful piece of Irish Catholic art. Wolfwalkers speak power to the past, using the Irish people's connection to wolves to fight against oppression, to fight against erasure of their culture. And Song of the Sea speaks to the power of letting go of the fairy world to be able to live in the human one. Song of the Sea is about letting go of a world that is no longer there, a world that had been taken away from the Irish, and to learn to embrace that heritage again. There is a process of letting go of the ways of old.
I still do.
Can't you stay too, Mum? Please?
My son, remember me in your stories and in your songs. Know that I will always love you. Always.